All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second webinar for the NHSGA. My name is Chris Noble. I run and manage the National High School Golf Association. Really excited to be able to talk about our topic here today, especially for a lot of my upperclassmen in high school, juniors and seniors. I think this is going to be an awesome class for you, really targeted around high school upperclassmen recruiting checklist. A lot of you are probably excited to be going into your junior, senior years of high school, but there might be a little bit of uncertainty in terms of what you need to be doing from a golf standpoint, from a recruiting standpoint, especially for some of you who might be planning to play in college. So my goal is to really provide a lot of clarity around that and next steps, what you need to be focused on. So what we're going to do is we're going to take about 15, 20 minutes. We're going to go through the PowerPoint together. I'm going to show you guys a few different areas on the website that I think are going to be helpful for you too. And at the end, definitely encourage you guys to reach out to me personally through email, through phone with any questions that you might have that we may not have gotten over. So with that, let's go ahead and jump right in. In terms of background and of really who we are, what we do with the NHSGA, our main focus and goal is the growth and recognition of high school golf. In a lot of ways, we feel that high school golf is overshadowed by some of the bigger sports, namely football, basketball, baseball, obviously other junior golf tournaments, some of your national events is like an AJGA event. So we're really focused on growing the game of golf at the high school level. Ways that we're able to do this currently, we do have every single state high school golf championship. We have it recorded, ranked, recognized, and in total, we just celebrated the 2017-2018 season with our rankings. We actually have over 20,000 high school golfers on our leaderboards. So obviously trying to bring that recognition, showcasing tournament opportunities, camps, equipment discounts for players and coaches, information on recruiting. So really giving this true home to high school golf, which essentially in the past has never been able to happen before. So really excited about that. And in terms of my background, everyone, golf has pretty much been my whole life. In terms of my high school days, from Michigan originally, four-time Michigan High School Athletic Association All-State recipient. I was also All-Conference for my 4 years as well. Fast forward to my college days, played 4 years collegiately at a school called Holy Cross College, right across the street from the University of Notre Dame in South Bend, Indiana. If you ever seen the movie Rudy, it's probably the easiest way to think about his school. We actually made it to the national championship my freshman year out in Oregon for the NAI national championship. So excited to be able to give back to obviously the game that has given me so much and really bringing up the next generation of high school and collegiate golfers. So in terms of a outline for our class here, everyone, today what we're going to talk about are we're going to split it up from a junior and senior standpoint. So my class of 2020, class of 2019, where you are, what you need to be doing, and next steps in the recruiting process. Understanding the NCAA and the NAI eligibility centers. First of all, what do each mean? What do each level represent? What do you need to be doing? The FAFSA. This will probably be a hot topic, especially for a lot of your parents. What it is, what you need to be doing from a collegiate, especially a application standpoint for college. Talking a little bit on the ACT, the SAT, even the TOEFL for some of my international high school students. And of course, applying to college is what you need to be aware of, when you need to be doing that. And like I mentioned at the end, you can definitely send me any emails or questions that you might have that we may not have covered in the class. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and jump right in. In looking at the class of 2020, so my juniors this year, the first step really in terms of recruiting and for you to be putting your best foot forward of getting in front of college coaches, you need to be filling out what are called recruiting questionnaires. So even before you would send an email to a coach, call a coach, go on a campus visit, this is the first step of any school and university you're interested in. Simply enough, all you have to do is really go to that school's athletic website. There will be a section on there that'll say recruiting questionnaire, prospective student athlete questionnaire, golf questionnaire. It might be called a few different things, the same form. Make sure you fill that information out to the best of your ability. It's an easy way to get on that coach's radar, and then really after that, you will be able to follow up appropriately, especially with emails and phone calls and really building that relationship. The college golf resume. Everyone in here that is watching this, you need to have a resume, not only a paper resume, but one that can be sent electronically. I know some of you might be using recruiting services, different companies, which is awesome. But even those of you who do not, the great thing is you can just make one up, especially on a simple Word document. Some of you might be a little bit more tech savvy. You can even create your own website. But being able to send out information such as your swing video, your tournament scores, your tournament schedule, academics, is crucial for a coach to be able to get a better picture of you. In our blog section, which I'll show you guys at the end, I do have a few articles specifically on the college golf resume, good examples, bad examples, what you need to have in there. So I'll definitely encourage you guys to check out those sections too. Obviously, preparing for the ACT and the SAT junior year, that's when the testing starts to happen. Make sure you're studying, everyone. A few different areas, even resources that you can use, and I'm pretty big on. Obviously, I know a lot of you have classes in your high school. You might even have tutors, but different services such as the Princeton Review, Prep Scholar. There's a lot of, especially ACT, SAT prep out there. It's worth it. Generally, it's going to be a couple $100, could be upwards of $1,000, but if you use it, it can really help you best understand where you're strong, where you're weak, where you need to improve. And trust me, remember, the higher score you can get on these tests, the more scholarship money that you're going to be receiving, and the happier mom and dad are going to be too. Trust me on that. So make sure you are preparing. Don't wait until the last minute to really start studying for those tests. Registering for the NCAA and the NAI eligibility centers. We're going to go more into this, in depth in this in a minute. But essentially, guys, if you end up playing at the NCAA Division I or II level, you have to be registered with the NCAA Eligibility Center. Essentially, all it's doing is ensuring from an academic standpoint that you are cleared and ready to play from your GPA, your test scores, you're academically ready. Similarly, with the NAI, again, the NAI is a completely different entity than the NCAA. They have their own eligibility center as well. So do make sure that you are registered with them. Similar, it's just making sure academically you're cleared and ready to play. So like we talked about, obviously having recruiting questionnaires filled out, having that college golf resume prepared, really sending those resumes out in emails to coaches. But once you've filled out the questionnaire, have a few emails with the coach, then the next step is to really have that phone call. Remember, guys, a coach cannot get to know who you are personally just through an email or a questionnaire. They need to be able to talk to you. And really having that phone call with a coach is a great way to start personalizing that relationship and getting to know the coach even better. So keeping that in mind, shifting gears a little bit and now focusing toward my seniors, class of 2019. And don't panic if some of you are still a little unsure of where you're going or opportunities to play in college. There's still time. The biggest item I would really be saying, though, for especially my senior class, make sure that you are applying for colleges and universities that you're interested in. Seems pretty simple, but I can't tell you how many times that I've seen high school seniors wait until the last minute, and it really it puts a toll on them. And generally, there's going to be a difference between early action versus regular decision. We'll talk a little bit more on that in a moment, but essentially, if you are looking more at the early action time to apply for a college, that's going to happen more toward November, December of this year, of your senior year. Part of the reason why you'd want to do that is it can give you a admissions decision earlier of whether or not the school is going to accept you. And that can put your mind at ease a little bit. Regular decision, generally that's going to be a better idea for some of you who may still be planning to retake your standardized test, trying to get a little bit of a higher score. So that'll buy you some time, being able to get that score up as well. Making sure that you and your families are filling out the FAFSA. It stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Fill that out as soon as you can. October 1st, this coming fall, is the first day of your senior year that you can fill it out, but the sooner the better. Generally, the longer that you wait, the less funding that there is available. for your families to take advantage of. The biggest feedback I always hear from families is they might think financially they make too much money or they're in too good of a position. It never hurts to try. So I would encourage every single family who's hearing and watching this to fill out that FAFSA in terms of really making sure that you're able to take advantage of that aid as much as possible. Scheduling a visit, especially with a college coach or a team or a program that you're interested in. Remember, like we talked about, from a recruiting standpoint, it's all about a process. You are starting from a point of filling out questionnaires, having emails with the coach, having a phone call. Really, the last step is being able to have a face-to-face visit with the coach. Not only meeting the coach, but you're able to see the team. You're able to see the culture, the atmosphere that goes along with the school. Generally, I get a question of, well, what's the difference between an unofficial and an official visit? And really the only difference is unofficial, you and your family are paying your own way to visit the school. So what I mean by that is travel expenses, lodging, anything that comes along with that visit, it's on you and your family. Official visit, essentially the school is going to pay for it. So travel, hotel, lodging, meals, and a lot of times if a coach is fairly interested in you, has a lot invested in you, they are going to invite you over for an official visit. But even if it's unofficial, it's still a good choice. It's still a good use of your time. So I really encourage you to see as many schools as you can before making that final choice. Scholarship negotiation. So in terms of these dates we're going to talk about here in a moment, these are only for NCAA Division I and II. Part of the reason for that is when you play at the NCAA D1 or D2 level, you are signing a scholarship offer, basically what the college coach is going to offer you, but also you are going to be signing what's called an NLI, or a National Letter of Intent. This National Letter of Intent is binding you to that academic institution for one academic year. Okay, so there's 2 dates in which you can sign that. The early signing period, which is coming up this fall, November 14th through the 21st, it's just 1 week. And then the regular signing period, that's not going to happen until next spring. That's going to be April 17th through August 1st. So at the end of the day, if you play at that level, D1, D2, you'll have to sign your scholarship and NLI between those 2 time periods. If you play at the NCAA D3 level, remember, there are no athletic scholarships. There is no golf scholarship money. However, there is academic and merit-based scholarships. So you don't have to worry about those dates. Same goes for the NAI. The NAI doesn't have any, for lack of a better term, arbitrary signing dates. So you can essentially sign with the school whenever you want. And there are golf athletic scholarships at the NAI level as well. So keep that in mind, trying to really make sure these scholarship negotiations are happening early in your senior year, and communicate with coaches and programs that at the end of the day, you know you're not going to attend or have any interest in. That way these coaches can focus on other players for their team. Keeping that in mind, like I mentioned earlier, just spending a little bit of time with the NCAA and the NAI eligibility centers. So like we mentioned, if you play at that D1, D2 level NCAA, you have to be registered. And again, it's examining your academic records, test scores, amateur status, ensuring that you're eligible to compete and play. For my U.S. students, $65 one-time fee, $95 for international. The earlier you can get this done, the better. So ideally, the early part of your junior year, it's just one of those items you can kind of cross off the list. So I'd really encourage you guys to be able to register. And similarly, if you are looking at the NAI level, the NAI has their own eligibility center, considering it is a different entity. You do have to be registered. Very similar. Just looks at your academic records, additional info, making sure you're eligible to compete. One-time fee, $80 for U.S. students, $135 for international. And keep in mind, if you do play at the D3 level, you do not have to be registered with either. Okay. Taking a look now at the FAFSA, and I wanted to include this graphic because I know a question I get quite often is, okay, what do I need to fill this out? Especially families, there's a little bit of confusion. So keep in mind, when you do fill this out, essentially it's calculating your family's EFC, or expected family contribution for what essentially you could be expected to contribute for your son or daughter's college years. And again, no matter what your family's income level is, I really would encourage every family to fill it out. Because again, you don't know what potentially could be out there, especially for your family. You can fill the form out anytime through starting October 1st, and it goes through June 30th of 2019. But the sooner the better. Making sure that you do have some information handy: Social Security card, driver's license number, investments, bank statements, untaxed income, federal tax, your W-2s. So making sure that you do have all this information handy, it's just going to make it a little bit easier when you are filling out the form and submitting it as well. Okay. So shifting gears for a moment and spending a little bit of time, especially on the ACT and the SAT, I get some questions on this quite a bit. And keep in mind, everyone, that colleges do use both the ACT and the SAT. So it's not like you have to take both. A lot of times it's going to depend on the location you are in the country, the state that you're in. But again, colleges accept both. Really what this is going to help you with is understanding, are you accepted to that school? What type of merit-based or academic scholarships you might be in line for. And remember, you can retake both tests as many times as you like. Ideally, I would really recommend you to take it as early during your junior year as possible, so that way if you want to retake it, try to get a higher score, you do have time to do so. The Princeton Review, as I was mentioning earlier, has a free test online, which can help you decipher whether or not the ACT or the SAT would be better for you to take. And a lot of times it just depends on how you learn, how you comprehend information. So I did include the link for that, so please feel free to jot that down. I would really encourage, again, every high school golfer just to take that. It'll probably take you 5 minutes, maybe even less, and just understanding really what test might be best for you to take off the bat. If I do have any international high school golfers, where, again, English is not your first language, you should be taking the TOEFL. Essentially, that stands for the test of English as a foreign language. Over 9,000 colleges and universities throughout the U.S. use that from an admission standpoint. If you do wish to register and learn more about it, I did include also the link that you can follow to get some more information on that too. Okay. And just taking a little bit of time looking at the early action versus regular decision from an application standpoint for colleges. So like we mentioned, early action, really that gets you an admissions decision generally by early December, which is a bonus, especially if you maybe have it narrowed down to a few schools and you want to have that decision made early. I'd really recommend for you to do that if you're happy with your test scores. And the cool thing is too, it's non-binding. So even if you do that and you get accepted to school, you're under no obligation to attend. You essentially have until May 1st to really make that official decision of whether or not you want to attend that school or university. Regular decision, obviously that's going to give you a little bit of a later deadline to submit your application. Typically that's going to range from December until early spring. And like I mentioned, for some of you who might be planning on retaking the ACT or the SAT, trying to get that score up a little bit, I would encourage regular decision as well. It gives you more time to decide what you might want to study or pursue as a major, especially in your college days. With that, everyone, again, I didn't want to take too much time on that. Again, I know that was hopefully helpful, hopefully gives you a little bit of a better sense of where you are, what you need to be focused on in terms of your junior and senior years, recruiting-wise. High-level overview. I know there's going to be questions, probably things we didn't cover. So this is why I have this slide right here. I'm here for high school golfers. I'm here for families. I'm here for coaches. Please send me an email. That is my direct line. Feel free to call me at any time. I'd be happy to take your questions. Anything that I can do on my end to be of help, please don't hesitate to reach out. Now, one thing that I do want to be able to take some time to focus on you as well, focus with you guys as well, is taking a look at the website here. And let me just go ahead and get this up. And I just want to make sure that we're really able to make the most out of this time together. So what we're going to do, perfect. So I brought you guys here to the highschoolgolf.org. This is a homepage. And as I mentioned, we are really focused on different educational pieces, articles that we're writing for high school golfers. So in particular, the blog area. So generally, guys, every week I'm adding at least one, if not two, sometimes three pieces of content to this area. As you can tell, the topics are wide-ranging and varying, but a few in particular that I really would like you to take a look at, especially on the second page here, good and bad examples of a college golf resume. So trying to provide you guys an idea of what a good resume might look like, what a bad resume might look like to a college coach. I think this is going to give you a much clearer picture and what you need to have on there in the format that you need to have it in. Additionally, with that, I do have an article here on the basics of the college golf resume. So talking about especially swing videos, how you need to format your tournaments in here, even letters of recommendation, references that you might want to be including as well. So I really encourage you guys to check that out. And again, if you want to run a resume by me or say, hey, coach, or hey, Chris, I might have just a quick question on this topic. Again, I'm here for you. And please definitely be checking out the blog section here. We will be continuing to add to this, especially throughout the summer months, on topics that are going to be really important to you, your coach, and your families as well. So everyone, again, thank you so much for taking the time to be able to watch this with me here today. And feel free to reach out to me at any time. Again, 574-252-9165, and my email, chris@highschoolgolf.org. Thanks so much. Hope you play well this fall, and let us know how we can be of help in the meantime.